Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. You are not going to believe the crap that I'm about to tell you tonight. Number one, U.S. shot down an Iranian drone. Are we going to war with Iran? Number two, are you going to believe it when I tell you that these guys over inside California had access to hand grenades and claymore mines and machine guns? Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. Also, remember the biolabs I've been talking about? A lot of you guys probably remember the biolabs I've been talking about. Turns out that those are 10 times worse than we ever thought. And I'm going to explain why. I told you guys that I knew it was stinky the moment I was like, oh, it's connected to California. That's not good. That's no good. It's been there for 2 years. They're up to no good. I wonder what's going on. Well, now people that have stayed there, and I'm using the term stayed there for a reason, have reportedly contracted, and I quote, deadly illnesses. You're not going to want to miss this because it is, it's way worse. Way, way worse. I didn't even think today could get more crazy. There's so much crazy stuff that happened today that I'm not going to be able to touch on it all anyways. And as we're waiting on everybody to roll in here, I'm going to play you one of the crazy things that I just heard for the very first time.
A man believed to be former First Lady Jill Biden's ex-husband has been charged with murder. He's accused of killing his wife. Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has the latest on this. Mike.
Harris, 77-year-old William Stevenson was arrested yesterday and charged in connection with the death of 64-year-old Linda Stevenson on December 28th. There are reports William Stevenson is the ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden, but Fox has not independently confirmed that. The Newcastle, Delaware Police Department telling us, quote, will not be providing any additional comment regarding this incident when asked if they can confirm the connection to Dr. Biden.
Dude, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Jill Biden's, too much stuff. Nah, man, it's not too much stuff. I think this is one of those days when they say, look over here, because there's a million other things that are going on. And there's one thing in particular that you absolutely should be paying attention to, and that's going to be those freaking biolabs. And you're going to understand why really, really fast. And to be quite frank, I would not be surprised if we have another pandemic that ends up coming out because of this crap, if it hasn't already started. And I'm not kidding you, man. I think the government's going to have, and this is one of those things that I'm just never, ever going to let go, just at all. I'm not going to. Just like I'm not going to let this one go. The Punjabi Devils over in Stockton hit my radar today. Allow me to introduce you to these guys when I bring them up. I'm not going to allow some weird Mexican song to steal from the channel. The lab was not far from the airbase. Yeah, I know. But you're about to understand why I think it's even more serious than the airbase. The airbase I can live with. You know, at least you're using biological warfare against freaking U.S. troops. No, I think it's worse. I'm going to explain why. These guys, Punjabi Devils, one of them ended up getting arrested. And while they were getting arrested, the FBI ended up going through the house. Now, you guys can just see them sitting here just hanging out, doing their own thing. They're allegedly affiliated with a large motorcycle gang, but they apparently don't claim them. The problem is when that one person ended up getting arrested, he had a freaking hand grenade, machine gun, lots of other firearms, and I kid you not, a claymore mine. These guys that are up on your screen running around freaking California, hand grenade, claymore mine, machine guns. Yep. This is real. This is real. And I'm going to prove it to you really, really quick. FBI made a statement earlier, ended up having their own little press release. Founder of the Punjabi Devils Motorcycle Club, Stockton, pleads guilty to unlawful dealing in firearms and possession of a machine gun. Well, that's scary within itself. That came out on February 2nd, so yesterday. But you go down and you start reading it, and they put this image out, and they even made a post over on X about it, talking about the Punjabi Devils, whatever. Yeah, Tristan, we can do a Discord talk tonight, friend. So there's your image of the firearms and stuff, but you'll notice there's something that's missing off this table of what I just told you about. Hopefully I can zoom in on it. Yep. So they had all those, or at least the one guy did. And then I started reading further into this. Firearms included machine guns and a short-barreled rifle. Firearms parts included silencer, high-capacity drum mags, and other items seized from Singh's vehicle and residence on June 6, 2025. Buried below the picture, officers also discovered a single pineapple-style Captain-fused hand grenade, as well as what law enforcement believed was a military electronically capped Claymore freaking mine. The EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, of the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department bomb team destroyed these items at the scene. A freaking Claymore mine with electric caps. For those of you who haven't served in the military and don't know the significance of a Claymore mine, I believe, if I remember right, the Claymore has 30 degrees of deflection. It's just a big freaking, I ought to grab a damn picture of this thing to you. It's an anti-personnel mine. It's got plastic explosive on the inside, and it's got ball bearings, like steel ball bearings mashed into it. And it's command detonated, and you clack it off. Like when you hear guys from the military talking about dudes clacking themselves off, that's what they're talking about. Squeeze a little thing, and it goes boom. There's other ways that you can set it off. But generally speaking, if it had electric blasting caps and it's a Claymore mine, it's probably military surplus. You want the link to this? Where's the legal support? You guys want the link to this crap? Or, I mean, this is insane. This is absolutely nuts. He initially faced state charges related to these offenses. July 21, 2025, he failed to appear in court. Now, here's my favorite part of this whole thing that the liberals are going to be hating themselves on. He FTA'd July of 25. July 23, FBI received an alert from who? None other but U.S. Customs and Border Protection that he had booked a ticket to India and was scheduled to depart from San Francisco International Airport on July 26. And on that date, officers found him and arrested him at the airport before he could run away. And he's in federal custody, and he remains there. I believe they said he ended up pleading guilty. Great. Stephen Adams, we have foreign military crossing our border in South Chaos in the north, and Chinese owning properties next to military bases and owning biolabs. When will the government realize that they are connected? Love you, bro. They're not going to, Stephen. They're probably not going to. And I truthfully believe this is that look over here. Don't pay attention to the Mexican army crossing the border. These freaking Indians, like Indians, running around the United States with freaking Claymore mines and pineapple grenades. CBP luckily was able to catch them and alert the proper authorities in order to go get them. But how the hell did they get those? Like, that's not a little organization, man. At the point you're sourcing Claymores and freaking hand grenades, dude, you're up to some shady crap. Used to buy that stuff in Phoenix back in the 90s. They even sold red-eye missiles, Wild West. No kidding. Wow. Incog Faraday came in giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you, brother. Well, this is fun. Do you guys recognize this place? Anybody? Nobody at all, huh? I don't know how else to state this, but the biolab in Las Vegas is now being reported that it was an Airbnb. I'll state that again. The biolab outside of Las Vegas is now being reported that it was an Airbnb. This is the same lab that was connected to the one over inside California. This is the same lab that had a whole freaking mess of crap inside of it. It has the same owner, on paper anyways. Pray for Virginia. Thank you, Keith Knight. And I saw the other one, guys. Give me a sec. I'll get it up. They literally had this place that they were renting out as an Airbnb. Do you remember how, like, the reports when I first talked about it, they had several people detained, like when they went to the property, only ended up taking one into custody? The place was a biolab. Now, let me attempt to put the gravity of this situation for you. It was 3 years ago. Not one, not two, but 3 years ago, in which the lab in California was reported. 3, not one, not two, but 3. And the same company, LLC, and the owner of that property also owned the one in Vegas. Now, I want you to think over the course of 3 years, or even the course of 30 days, how many people have traveled through this biolab over inside of Las Vegas? All right, I'll get it up there. Give me a sec. I appreciate you guys. You guys are hounding me, and I love you for it. So give me a sec. Let me grab it. I've got the link somewhere on here. I'll give you guys that link here in a minute, and I'm sure you guys are going to want to talk about it. But I'm telling you guys right now, when we go in the Discord, I'm not going to talk about it until I get go ahead from this new attorney. Yeah, the biolab is a very real problem. Give me one sec as I go and I grab this new link for you guys. Frickin' Michael Jackson. Hate that guy. Here we go. I got you guys. I got you. And you got me, and I greatly appreciate you guys. Link to support me. That was all supposed to be the same message, but I, out of habit, typed really fast. I'm sorry. Pinned up at the top of the chat for you guys that were asking about it. Now, what was found in this place? It is being reported through 8 News Now and David Charnes that people have been sickened and became deathly ill after being at that residence. It was being used as an Airbnb. The people that leaked the information, the tips, said that the garage smelled horrible. Smelled like a hospital, and not like a clean hospital, but more like a foul, stale, stagnant air smell. It contained many dead crickets. The house had many dead crickets inside of it. The house cleaner told authorities about the lab equipment, refrigerators in the garage. The guy that owns the place or has the business registered there is linked to the CCP, of course. His name that he had, Ori Sorman, is the guy that owned the place. The other guy that's affiliated with it has contacted him 3,524 times in jail. So the guy in China that's connected to this, and the guy that's in jail connected to the one in California, he's talked to the guy in jail over 3,000 times since he's been in jail. 3,000. Authorities say that Wang had access to the cameras and he was monitoring the property. And now I've got to wonder, why haven't we heard more about this? To make matters even worse, there's also additional passports in there under Oli Solomon, who is the quote-unquote property manager. Federal gun charges have been thrown on him because he wasn't a legal U.S. resident. Well, maybe he was. I don't know how to talk about it, but he was. He's an E2 visa holder. Therefore, he's not allowed to possess firearms. Instead of talking about all of the connections to China and everything else, when they ended up putting this out, the criminal complaint against the guy, they highlighted a ton of stuff, a ton of it, about his connections to China, or excuse me, about his connections to guns. Inside the home, they found a Springfield Armory XD-45, Savage Mark II 22 caliber rifle, Italian 36 Navy, Springfield Armory XD-9, an IWI Tavor, chambered in .556. And, of course, everybody's favorite, a Glock 19. Now, the crazy part about this is they discovered this from the guy that they took to prison, calling back and asking and making sure, talking to his friends, that they didn't find the guns. When asked about it, the Bureau said that they saw the Glock 19, but they didn't have the warrant for any firearms, so they didn't look into it. So they saw the gun, didn't bother looking into it because that's it. But they didn't mention the Tavor. They didn't mention the XD9. They didn't mention any of that freaking crap. This is what's wild. Place smells like a morgue. People got deathly ill. Biolab in the backyard, connected to the one over inside of California. Over 3,000 calls from the dude here, connected to this one, over back to freaking China. You got all this BS going on. And they're bringing up the fact, yeah, I know, Springfield Armory XD. Yep. I'm not a fan of them, but I mean, some people are. But yeah. I mean, they're cute. But seriously, like, this is wild. And we're being told to pay attention to what's going on, like, all around the country. Like, I'm pretty sure more people are upset over the freaking Grammys this weekend than anything else. Meanwhile, you got these guys running around with claymore mines and freaking hand grenades and machine guns, and Chinese people running Airbnbs with a bunch of biological crap that had to get freaking funneled off for analysis. They ended up taking a bunch of vials off of the property and having to send it all off for analysis. I'll let you guys listen to this clip that I was able to find.
Because the FBI is testing exactly what they found in that home, that biological material. But this California connection raising a lot of questions about what may have been happening on the ground here.
The 8 News Now investigators first to confirm the connection between this Northeast Las Vegas home and this biological laboratory outside Fresno, California. Both locations connected to this man, David He, who federal officials identify as a Canadian fugitive from China. They say he tried to enter the U.S. 7 times in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing about David He, we'll get into his Chinese exploits maybe tomorrow. Or, I'm sorry, we'll get into his Canadian exploits. There's no reason for that guy to have been capable of entering the United States of America, by the way. Just keep that in mind.
And they believe he most recently came into our country illegally. Teams from Metro Police and the FBI raiding a home Saturday listed in the name of a business connected to He. State business records show an active license for David Destiny Discovery, with He named as the registered agent. But he's been in federal custody since his arrest in 2023. Federal investigators say he ran the California Biolab, where inside officials found blood, tissue, and thousands of vials of suspected biological material. Some of that material, according to federal investigators, infectious agents like HIV and malaria. Photos from inside also showing some of the hundreds of mice, some wounded, others dead. Officials suspect he and his associates bought counterfeit COVID and pregnancy test kits from China and resold them in packaging like this, claiming they were made here in the U.S. A federal report about the lab and its connections to the Chinese government, finding it shows a, quote, profound threat and significant gaps in our nation's defenses. He faces an ongoing criminal case in federal court, where in documents he told a judge he no longer runs the companies linked to him.
My butt. Now, all those companies, their like business licenses apparently are no good from what I've read, but they haven't got into it. Last night I ended up playing a video of the congressman that was pissed because there's currently no federal agency to track biolabs here in the United States of America. I was reading over some reports last night about the actual guy that knew the connection between these two all the way back in 2022 when he first reported it. Yeah. He says there's over 5,000 locations here in the United States of America, and that the paperwork that they pulled off the site actually confirms all of that. So if you thought the Ukrainian biolab scam was going to be huge or was huge, wait until we start seeing all of these biolabs around the country being ran by Chinese nationals busted. The scariest part to me is the location of that biolab and the access of everybody coming into that area. I saw somebody ask whether or not there was like harmful stuff to be found at the other one. Yes, there was lots of harmful stuff. I didn't prepare the list for tonight of the ones from the previous lab, but it was a buttload. I read over it last night. There's like 5 different major freaking diseases that were in there. I know COVID-19 was one. I want to say tuberculosis was another. Malaria, like the most dangerous form of malaria, apparently, or strain. Dude, just all sorts of crap. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the downfall. You have a major city that has, God only knows how many people pouring through it, and that's one lab. That's one. That guy said 5,000, so do the math per state and think about the amount that are probably going to be concentrated over inside Vegas, and it's really smart if you want to set off a nationwide or global pandemic. Start rigging up different Airbnbs, start rigging up different hotels, everything else. Dude, it would spread so freaking fast. I for the life of me, am the first time worried that things are about to go south really, really fast here in this country. Maybe not for the first time, but they're going to go south. Before we talk about what took place over inside of Iran today, over the last couple of days, I've been showing you guys the indoctrination of our youth here in the United States of America because they've been getting indoctrinated at pretty wild rates, if you ask my opinion. And sure enough, it's 100% true. All of these that came out, this is Jefferson County Public Schools in Colorado. Now, the most troublesome part about this one for me is this, right up here in the top left corner. That's the salute report that we ended up seeing on all of the freaking flyers that were floating around Signalgate 2.0. So, that means the same nut jobs that are in those signal chats that are hunting down and tracking ICE are now using these. Top right corner says, let's look at the facts. And then it goes over to state a bunch of crap. ICE leadership has given officers the go-ahead to violate the Constitution, according to AP News. And they just call it a fact. What do you think will happen if these labs are linked back to the Chinese state? Do you want my personal opinion on that? Or do you want what the United States government should do? If these labs, which, by the way, most certainly appear that they're linked back to the Chinese state and the CCP, because that's pretty much everybody in China is a freaking spy for China. The United States government won't do a freaking thing. We are not going to go to war with China over a biolab. You know why? Because we didn't do it last time. It's not a myth anymore that COVID-19 ended up coming out of China. We know that. From Wuhan, the lab leak. And it just ends up spreading all across the world. So oddly enough, when I see Chinese labs here in the United States of America, well, I got some serious questions. I think everybody should have the same questions. I had Corey Goodrow on the show, what was it? A week ago? 2 weeks ago? No. That was, I interviewed him over on InfoWars. No, yeah. The amount of Chinese passports that man has in his possession. Unreal. The amount of Chinese crap. Do you remember when I told you when he was on the show, and unfortunately YouTube took the video down because we were showing the passports of the illegal immigrants? When he testified before Congress, he stated that he had a cell phone that they had cracked, and the passcode, I believe, was 123456. I talked to him last week. He said it was the first cell phone that they ever cracked. And that on that phone, they ended up coming across multiple different creepy messages. But the one that sticks out in my mind is the one of the Chinese urging themselves inside of like a WhatsApp chat, I think it was, to go and recruit 3 spies apiece and to go spy on naval stations, military installations in the United States of America. Now, one of you guys mentioned that biolab in particular in Nevada, actually a ton of you guys have mentioned that it was over next to what? a major military installation. So if China's sneaking across the border, they're recruiting spies, they're setting up biolabs, and we have all of this crap going on. We have officially entered the day and age where China does not need to launch an ICBM at the United States of America. I was watching a thing on stealth fighters last night and how stealth technology for stealth fighters had kind of changed everything. We ended up calling them like stealth fighters, and in reality, they weren't. They weren't fighters at all. They were precision bombers, and they were built that way, and they saw service all the way up through like the second invasion of Iraq. Operation Iraqi Freedom. The crazy part about it is the Russian defense systems, hear me out on this. Russian aerial defense systems were all based off radar. And for the longest time, they thought there is no freaking way that we're going to be able to get past this stuff. And then the United States figured it out. First time the stealth aircraft saw service was over in Panama. Yeah, the F-117 saw service, was over inside Panama, executed some targets. People argue about the precision of it. It's fine. Then came Desert Storm. And they worked like a freaking charm. One of them got shot down. I want to say it was like in Serbia. And it was due to like one Russian military officer that happened to catch like the bomb bay when it swung open and then dropped the bomb. But they're still effective to this day. As a matter of fact, I'm about to talk to you about an actual stealth fighter, the F-35. That revolutionized warfare. Because for 30, 40 years, the communists were building up like anti-aircraft radar crap. The same stuff that U.S. troops, if we end up going in and bombing Iran, which I think we're going to, we're about to touch on it, are going to have to face. Now, it's totally different. That aircraft and the aircraft that we have, great. Our aerial defenses, the Iron Dome, great. But now we have wide open borders. So our Golden Dome, our securing of Greenland, doesn't mean diddly squat when the Chinese are able to walk across the border, set up a biolab, and allow it to go out. JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, talked about how warfare was changing, and it was siding to the guerrillas. It was like the new age of warfare was upon us, guerrilla warfare. I could probably pull up the clip and play it for you. It's freaking insane. And guerrilla warfare worked for a really long time. But we have spent so much money on our military that now we have this wide open, gaping freaking hole in the country, and it's our immigration system. And it's being exploited by the enemies of the United States of America. And our government doesn't talk to you about it. So if our government's not going to talk to you about it and tell you that it's actually going on and that it's actually happening, what makes you think that, one, they haven't already connected it to China, and two, even if they did connect it to China, that they would do anything about it? Nope. Instead, we're going to keep playing the same silly game. Now we're going back to proxy wars. While China's busy building up their economy to the best of their ability, and it sucks pretty bad, but hey, they're starving us of our precious metals that we need to wage warfare. Meanwhile, they've got biolabs set up all across the United States. And we're going to be busy attacking Iran, trying to cut off their financial support system and everything else. That's the problem. The United States did finally fire shots in anger, although probably with a smile on his face, at Iran today.
Today, I did speak with folks over at the Pentagon this morning who said that CENTCOM acted both appropriately and necessarily to protect our U.S. personnel and equipment in the region. So CENTCOM did make the decision to shoot down that Iranian drone. It was unmanned. It was acting aggressively towards our USS Lincoln, which we know that aircraft carrier is in the region at the direction of President Trump. As for the president, he remains committed to always pursuing diplomacy diplomacy first. But in order for diplomacy to work, of course, it takes two to tango. You need a willing partner to engage. And so that's something the president and Special Envoy Witkoff are exploring and discussing right now. Special Envoy Witkoff is set to have conversations with the Iranians later this week. Those are still scheduled as of right now. But of course, the president has always a range of options on the table, and that includes the use of military force. The Iranians know that better than anyone. Just look no further than the highly successful Operation Midnight Hammer, which took not just Iran, but the entire world by surprise.
I feel like these people are big talking, like, just go to town on it. So what ended up happening? Well, we ended up having a Iranian drone that approached the USS Lincoln, like you heard her say, and they said it was moving aggressively towards it. So an F-35 came out of nowhere and shot the dang thing out of the sky. Pretty cool. Immediately following this report coming out, and by the way, this went down yesterday allegedly, but immediately following, or I'm sorry, today, but now yesterday, time zones, whatever. Immediately following this report coming out, there was a second report immediately thereafter that they were sending in another drone. Now, here's the thing about this Iranian drone. Is it the 139? Trying to remember the name of it. I was right. It's the Shahed 139. Here's the thing about the 139. You can pretty much, and that's it pictured down there at the bottom, you can pretty much equate that to like a U.S. Predator drone, right? It's got decent loitering. It's got an estimated range of, I believe, 1,000 kilometers. And it is very decent at surveillance. It's likely the drones that were surveilling, U.S. ships over in the region over the last week. And on top of that, it can also be armed with, air-to-ground munitions. So that's why the U.S. shot it down. We know they're over there watching our freaking ships, and we don't care. But the interesting part about this particular drone is that it can be armed. And that's why the U.S. went after it. Keon, got you, bro. Thank you. Keon, do you think we should call in sus homes that have Chinese ownership to find labs? Keon, yeah. But you also have to have information that leads towards probable cause that would make them want to enter the home. So you could call it in as a suspicious location, which is good. Because once there's a complaint, cops can go and they can start investigating things. They can look into it. So you could call them in. There's not a problem calling them in or reporting it anonymously online. The FBI's got a website. You can go and you can report this stuff online. And then they'll reach out to you. And on the backside, while you might not see movement on the residents, that's when they start looking into the ownership. That's when they start looking into the companies. That's when they start developing their probable cause to then go into that particular residence. Chris says, it took me like 30 tries to get this through. So excuse the very odd wording. We need, because the first time derivative of their cellular metabolism to quickly reach zero and stay there indefinitely for those biology CCP guys. What? I have to read this in silence. Chris, brother, I don't know why that's not clicking in my head. I read it twice now in my head, and I'm not there, man. So maybe just at me in the comments. Thank you for the donation. I really want to answer that, but I legitimately don't understand what you're trying to say. J.R. Huff, Matt, what if the war we think we are on the cusp of has already started? Everything is connected. The protests, these biolabs, Iran, multi-front war. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys. Thank you very much. That is exactly what I've been trying to tell you guys. When I brought up, I'm going to be focusing on the home front because I see a lot of things that I don't like. And I see our government doing things like attacking Venezuela and ripping Maduro out. And then that's connected to the CCP. That's connected to Russia. That's connected to Iran. And you have Iran moving Venezuelan oil to China. And you have freaking, Russian scientists operating over inside of Iran And then we have a boat full of gold running away from the U.S. military, and the Russians send a sub after it. And we got a bunch of Chinese running around the country and the Mexican army that crosses our border. Yeah, I got questions about what's going on. It most certainly seems like they have been planning and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. You know, it used to be that when technology came about, it was this like new way of communicating and everything else. But in my opinion, spycraft has gone back to the basics because of technology and because the amount of times it can be exploited. And when we have a border that's open like that, when we have embassies of hostile nations scattered across our nation, it makes it really easy to get that information between point A and point B. Because instead of using regular cell networks or open source internet or even the Tor browser, which I'm sure the US government has a backdoor to, they can just walk off the street into their embassy, pass information off, get new marching orders, and then move back out. And the United States government won't do a dang thing about it. Freaking disgusting. I've defeated the super chat censorship. I don't think you did, Chris. Exhaust the system, America, so you can break it. That's exactly what we're talking about. Now, I told you guys that my opinion was that the United States was going to move in, possibly do some embargoes, cut off the oil of the sanctioned Iranian tankers and stuff like that that would be coming out over there, and that we were going to end up having Iran attack those American warships, and that we were going to end up firing back in self-defense. So everybody's standing there looking and saying, hey, man, what the hell? We had a drone attack from Iran try to attack our freaking naval fleet. Why aren't we bombing the crap out of them? Like, all of the Iranian diaspora are pissed. Well, there's a reason we're not doing it. And it's probably because we're sitting around and we're waiting for everything to kind of get set in motion. We've got about 50,000 troops scattered across the Middle East, last I heard. And every single one of them, the United States government is going to want to have some sort of ballistic missile protection overhead. Mr. McGuy, sounds like we have a setup, the plot to the next Call of Duty tile. You know, I don't think Call of Duty is going to have crap on this, baby. I really don't. I think it's going to be even more out of control. I really do. I almost forgot to tell you guys, this wasn't the only engagement for the United States versus Iran, although the other one ended up not having rounds fired. Kind of looks like Obama, Fauci, Biden all did shaping ops for the CCP. Yeah, no kidding. Don't forget our guy, the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz. Don't forget him either. So, U.S. merchant vessel was also passing through the, what the hell is the name of that strait over there? Hormuz. And the IRGC sent a couple speedboats after it and was demanding that it pull over so that they could board it and seize this frickin' oil tanker. It was a U.S. flagged oil tanker traveling in international waters. There was a naval destroyer in the area that ended up getting dispatched and started heading that way. It's also reported that they ended up having U.S. Air Force overhead, and the U.S. Air Force scrambled as well and got overhead to provide cover. And the Iranians tucked tail and ran. So not only did we have a drone, one of theirs shot out of the sky, but we also had that happen. And the Iranian regime is still running their mouths, acting like we're going to end up getting in a big old freaking shootout with them, which is wild to me that they would want to even consider doing that. Trump is still stating that we're going to be negotiating with Iran. Not making that up. Trump's still stating that he's willing to negotiate with Iran even after today. Mate 397 says, you are at war and you have some idiots being friendly to Russia and Iran. You have to deal with these traitors really fast, including Republicans. 100%. Here's the thing. I have zero power. I can try to find these crooked people for you and point them out and tell you the dirty crap that they're doing, like I did with the, what the hell was he? The Arizona Republican senator that was over in Qatar and they're standing up a new Sharia village in Arizona. I could do things like that. But digging into their freaking banks, can't do it, man. I just don't have that ability. Saint Sinner says, people forget that we defeated the Soviet Union without firing a shot. We're at war with China and Russia right now, economically and politically. Yeah, that's a fact. They're at war with us. This is why Trump last year, and I've stated it a dozen times over the last year, this is why Trump said if you are going after the US dollar, you are going to war with America. By the way, this is an ICE agent over in Minnesota, if you guys didn't know that, driving around a traffic circle, keeping the yuppies following him around the traffic circle while they go raid another house. Figured I'd tell you that. ICE issue. I'd want to say it's out of control, but it's not. Another police recruit ended up getting arrested for being an illegal alien. This one from the city of New Orleans.
We have a new development that we know that you are not aware of yet, but we also know that it will become a newsworthy item, and therefore we're going to go ahead and share it with you. We don't have a lot that I can tell you. But as of this morning, ICE did indeed take into custody one of our police recruits, who is we hired and was in the police academy at the time. We've had conversations with ICE regarding this. There was no struggle involved in any of it. The person was actually, the recruit was taken into custody without any incident whatsoever. So what you would want to know about this particular person is that on our end, when we were doing the hiring process, there was nothing that was in the packet that would have us have reason to believe that this person did not have legal status. There is some question that may have developed later, but there was a signed order by a judge for his removal back in December. We hired him way before that.
Keown. I would prefer if you DM me that information, sir, over on X. And yeah, I bounce it off me all day. J.R. Huff says, haha, they schooled the Anakins. Yeah, that they did. Now, here's the problem. I told you guys that we have Chinese and all this other crap floating around the country. And the big issue here is that not only are they floating around the country, but they're also, we have illegals that are being made police officers in the United States of America. So whoever it was that had said that, and suggested, well, hey, can I just report this suspicious stuff to the cops? You most certainly can. And you can report it to the Bureau too. Don't forget how many freaking people in the Bureau got let go. Don't forget the Hoover building being shut down. Don't forget that you have cops like this that are on the streets in the United States of America. And so here's the big issue when it comes to national security is these law enforcement officers are like, it's the citizens and the law enforcement officers are like the first line of defense to actually sniffing this stuff out and going, that's a problem. And that needs to get reported. And so when we have illegal aliens that are not just running around our streets, but are also wearing badges and guns running around our streets, taking complaints of possible national security matters, and they're owned by another country, we have a very serious issue. And Americans are too dumb to understand that. They have been so indoctrinated over the last couple decades with this socialist propaganda, not like the anti-fascist crap, not like the people like, no, like actual socialist propaganda, like the one responsible for like hundreds of millions of deaths around the world. That crap. We're screwed. When I told you guys that I thought for sure that this is what the administration was doing, that they were going to pull these people off the street because they knew it was coming and we have so many damn people here in the United States of America that there's nothing we can do about it. Guys, remember the story last night I played to you about the freaking Texas school that had the hijabs and the Qurans that were being handed out and all that other crap? Looks like the principal, it's being reported, supported the whole thing. The principal supported handing out the hijabs. You guys still think we're that freaking off? Because I don't think we are. Meanwhile, Ted Lieu, no, I didn't intend this after hating on China all day. This is what he wants to point out to you.
Are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's
This bro, man, I'm pretty sure he's a California. Yep. He's a California congressman. He's got a freaking biolab in his backyard connected to other places across the country. This dude wants to talk about freaking Trump in the Epstein files. Like, get a grip, America, for the love of God. It's also in Denver, Matt. I voted no, but apparently we voted it into law. What was voted into law in Denver? Oh my goodness, man. I'm pulling up over to Discord, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to talk to you guys, get kind of some of your thoughts. I want to, we got like 15 minutes. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. I'm going to open that sucker up. Uh-oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, it's making me, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Why does it make me accept my own hand to come up on stage and preach to you guys inside of my own Discord? I don't understand that one to save my life, but hey, here we are. That's what we're doing today. Let me get that camera turned on for you guys. Who we got in here right now? Chris, what's up, buddy? Chris, can you hear me? Yoda? Anybody? Can anybody hear me over in the Discord today? Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to come right back. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I will be right back. Disconnect quietly. Disconnect. Join stage. Boom.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Perfect. All right. Back up. I don't know why it makes me do that every time, man. All right. What's going on?
Oh, man. I feel bad for the people who can't see these dots being connected. You got the biolabs, you got fentanyl flooding in, and it's still flooding in. And you've got all this rage against, people actually just trying to do basic laws and get rid of criminals. It's sickening that people allow it to happen and don't say nothing.
Introducing time.
What's even worse are the people that see it going on and don't do nothing or even speak out against it.
I think we're trying to do something, but I think the issue is that the government's not letting the people know like how serious this problem is. That's what I think's going on. I think the government's just trying to keep it kind of like under wraps. Because if you really think about it, let's say that the government does come out and say, hey, the Chinese are 100% building biolabs probably to attack us because all this crap is happening in the world. Do you think the people of the United States would even listen to them at this point?
Honestly, no. I think it'd be like, oh, well, who won the Grammys or who's going to win the Super Bowl? Or
Thank you.
We're stuck in this don't look up type thing and look over here type situation, and it's really, really bad. And another thing people don't realize, all these illegals that came here, how many of them were tier operators? What could a team of 5 people with just basic 11 Bravo training do with said weapons?
Right.
And how much damage they could do? Right. Now imagine people that they're tier operators. Like, America's not the only one with tier trained people. And I have a feeling there's probably more than just a few here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong. Nate, did you make it in here yet? Nate, I saw you try to jump up to stage, man. But yeah, you're up here. Nate Vance is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Nate, long time no see. Who do we have up next? I know I saw Yoda, but it looks like he ended up dropping down. Brian, good to see you. Good to see you. Who wants to come up next? Morgan?
Hey, I just got a quick question. Did you review that thing I sent to you about that San Antonio judge?
I probably not, to be perfectly honest. I've been pretty slammed lately with attorneys and everything else, to be quite frank. Plus, I'm acting as my own attorney in a different thing for something else. So I'm pretty slammed.
If she gets convicted set good precedents to go after judges in Minnesota.
Is this the one that got in? Yes, I know what you're talking about. Remind me real quick. Yeah, it's the one that's blocking crap.
Well, no, she cuffed an attorney and put her in a jury box and didn't let her leave or anything, so that she infringed on her civil rights and all this other crazy stuff.
All right, now I'm gonna have to go read that because it's not what I thought it was. I thought I saw something about a judge being in trouble for blocking something else, like one of the federal orders coming in, and they were determining that it was unlawful for that judge to do that, and so that was going to allow them to go.
No, hers is violating civil rights.
Okay,
she's getting charged with like 2 or 3 felonies and like 3 misdemeanors.
Oh, well, that's good. Get rid of them. The judge of all should know not to be violating people's civil rights, for crying out loud. Nate, are you trying to make your camera work, man? Yeah, you are. Who did we just have? That was Brian. Yoda, what's up, bud? Does nobody's mics work tonight? Apparently not. Nobody?
Can you hear me, Matt?
Yeah, Morgan, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's just with my point of view on it, with the way things are going recently, it's about time for us to start getting ugly, like with these Chinese-owned farms and lands and stuff. We just need to go get rid of them and have somebody set on it as a squatter. I highly doubt China's going to come and try to take the land.
They probably won't. I mean, we could have people go and sit on the land and pretend to be squatters and everything else, but unfortunately, the government, for wherever they're at, are probably just going to capitulate to the Chinese and drag the people off that are squatting on it. Like, you'll have to get a Native American claiming it's stolen land to have some sort of a rational thought process between, like, the woke places these places are standing up. You know what I mean?
That's fine. We could put that bug in the Native community for them. I was just getting at the point we're gonna have to physically start running these people out. The Somalis, the Sharia law people. Like, in my opinion, the talking and taking it through the political thing is done. We, the people, are gonna have to start getting these idiots out of here.
Yes. So that's, to me, that's kind of one of those first steps that needs to happen. But the more important steps, in my opinion, on the people that we really need to get rid of are the middleman, like the middleman law enforcement, the middleman military folks, the middleman folks that are in, like, the bureau, the agency, all of them, because they are controlling flows of information. And if people that are our decision makers don't know that the Mexican army crossed the border, don't know that we have Chinese linked biolabs, don't know that we have all of this crap going on in spies that are over there. You know what I mean? Like, don't know all of these things that are being exploited in our country. That's a problem. And I think that,
well, and that's what I'm saying is like that's a perfect example and I'm disciplined and not down in that area to give myself a motive to do it. Go sit down in your camp or camping on the border. You see them cross the border, take some target practice.
Yeah. Start sniping across the border.
At worst, you're being a patriot and defending your country from a foreign invader. Yeah, go ahead and take me to court for that.
Well, that's just it, man.
You know, and
what are you going to do?
Not like Mexico's. Yeah.
What are you going to do if you're on the border and you see a bunch of Mexican troops crossing the border with a frickin' AR? You know, like.
Well, that's just it. If I'm in my camper, I'm armed. I'm going to light that 5-man team up.
Right. Yeah. And then you also have the other issue of a bunch of. Then you also have the other issue of a bunch of, like, civilians that are taking part in border guard activities that are reporting things out that are dressed in camo, running around with guns as well.
Because if I'm not mistaken, when you were reporting on that, they came over the border and were shaking doorknobs.
Correct.
if that would have been one of my houses, there would have been a major international incident because I would have killed every fucking single one of them.
Well, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course. Like, they have zero business doing that on U.S. territory. Can I share the story about the Mexican military?
People need to quit. My point is we're past the point of, we need to talk about it and have the government do something. They're obviously not, so we need to get rid of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Before our 19 billion end up a trillion.
I agree. I agree. And I think it's bigger than that. Like, I think personally that it was cartels pretending to be, and we had a crooked CBP supervisor that told people to stand down, potentially got his pocket lined, and, thought that it would go unnoticed. So I think that's
the pocket line.
Well, the issue is
nobody's.
The issue with it is the amount of people that can cross the border unimpeded. Like, that's how they're coming in. When you look into the guy that owns these different companies that was up over in Canada running amok before he came here, there's absolutely no reason, because the guy got hit with like multiple freaking charges up there. There's no reason we shouldn't have had biometric data and all this other crap. So how did he get here? How did he open a country? Why do these guys have multiple passports? I didn't even talk about that. I think it was an Australian and an Israeli passport that were also found at that residence.
But the other half of that lies on our population and the people. It's just like with what happened up in Oregon the other night.
Well,
disabled veteran gets slammed to the ground by an Antifa enforcer, which by definition makes him a terrorist.
And nothing happened to the guy.
People are freaking standing there laughing. Not one man in that crowd went and stomped that dude out for it.
Right. Not one person went over and stomped the dude out for it. But what's more, the guy didn't get arrested. And now, after they almost burnt the freaking ICE facility to the ground and tried to overrun it, a freaking federal judge has came out and has forbidden federal officers from using tear gas again in Portland.
Yeah.
So
and
it's a problem.
Just so just so it don't involve this all on your end, and this is just my opinion, but enough's enough. These patriots, Proud Boys, veterans, we all need to start doing something about this shit, because that's ridiculous. Nowhere in America should a disabled vet get slammed to the ground to where he gets a concussion, TBI, and broken ribs.
Yeah.
And this man was a captain of a naval ship.
Yeah. And he was pushing his wheelchair down the road. What's up, brother?
So when Billie Eilish said that no one's illegal on stolen land, I was doing research. A Native American tribe that used to own that land where her house is on.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, I need to do more research, but I think they are trying to sue for that land. I don't know if you saw, but Melania's movie / documentary, I think broke almost close to breaking a record, box office record, raising over $7 million.
No, it raked in a buttload of money. It's not a house. It's like a $14 million mansion or something like that. She went back home to.
But to what I was getting at, if people are going to stand on what they stand on, that's fine. If she truly believes all that, she needs to give away, not donate, give away everything she's got.
Well, I bring that up to
if she's
every
gonna
single person.
If she's going to be stupid and make a fucking public comment, sorry for dropping an F-bomb, saying something that ridiculous, every single penny she's got and every asset she's got needs to be donated to the needy.
Yep.
That was my largest argument for the pro-Palestinian supporters back in the day was if you are upset about Israel expanding its territory, then you need to get the hell out of the United States and give it back to somebody else. Mexico, the Native Americans, whoever you feel like it should belong to, that's where it needs to go. If you own property in this country, we believe in conquering. And I don't know when it stopped being okay to conquer land, probably after World War II, right? Because we gained some of our territories following World War II. Like, I think it was Guam and American Samoa, a couple other ones. But when did it stop becoming okay to do that? And I think 1940s was the last time that ever happened. So maybe we need to bring that back. And instead of going down to Venezuela and ripping them out, we just have the Commonwealth of Venezuela.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And we're about to have the Commonwealth of California and the Commonwealth of Minnesota pretty soon too.
Yeah. Do you think that out of all of us, who's going to watch the halftime show? No, I'm definitely not going to, because I know it's going to be political, and the NFL is starting.
I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even tell you who's going to the Super Bowl.
And
Yep, I'm not watching any of it. I quit watching the NFL when they started kneeling during the national anthem.
And
the only time I watch it in the NFL is for fantasy football. That's it. But other than that, I won't watch it.
Oh man, is anybody else having Discord issues? Tristan says that his Discord won't load up and can't see the stream or anything.
Mine seems to be doing
internet connection.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Internet connection.
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of broken up tonight, but you're not horrible, man. And we need to get back to doing more Discord chats and everything, because we used to do them quite a bit. I used to do phone-ins and stuff like that, and man, I really should actually get back to doing that. So,
so yeah, it's Hell Rush that's wanting to debate you, Matt, and I've been trying to get him to come up and
is
debate
Hell Rush
you.
coming up? Is he here?
No, I've been trying my best to get him into here, and the last time you did a Discord, he's like the next day he pops up in the popped up in one of the chats, and he's like, "Oh, I'm busy. Finally got it, and I'll have to send Matt a message." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm telling you, when he opens chat Discord, immediately raise your hand."
Well,
I think that's like a keyboard warrior, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was this guy that was endlessly writing me over on Instagram, like screaming at the top of his fingers, trying to get me to like debate him on something. And I'm like, dude, you don't even have a real name. Like nobody, like, who the hell are you? And what do you even want to debate about? And why are you so angry? You know?
People having too much free time, in my opinion, to do unproductive things.
It's today's version of in the 80s, the telephone tough guy.
Yep. I say it's time to play Cowboys and Democrats.
Yep.
Matt, I do have, like, I guess your opinion. One, I just got to say, I love the show. There's many things I agree with you, many things I don't agree about you, but the news that you bring to the group and the YouTube channel is great. I love it. This biolab, I thought it was like a small thing, but as you were describing it more, it became such a big thing. Me thinking about it, right? I know this is just one of probably many throughout this whole country of adversaries of the Chinese, the nationals, the illegal people and whatnot. My thing is, if we now know of one, what's the likelihood of this happening or being a nationwide scale thing, an inside attack, an insider job, a sleeper cell type of thing? You know, now we have these people in our country, and now the American people, the public, is vulnerable, and you have all these people kind of, defending these people. This is some serious stuff. This is how COVID-19 happened. And I agree with you what you were saying about Wuhan and China during 2020, 2019.
Yeah.
I said that from the beginning and was called a conspiracy theorist and crazy and everything under the sun.
We all did. We all did.
Which is great. This is serious.
We all did.
The reason I'd love to talk about it is I was a medic for a long time in the military, and I'm nowhere near the ability of gain of function type stuff, but I know what it is and how it works. They found Ebola.
Yeah,
and the most recent one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
they didn't get the results. They didn't get the results back from the vials yet. They sent those ones off, but the last lab had Ebola.
So with gain of function, and you actually got some people who really know what they're doing. Instead of being a bloodborne, it turns into, say, a flu type symptom, but is just as deadly. And the question of how many is out there, honestly, I think probably every major city with over 1 million population anywhere close has probably got a biolab near it. That's just my opinion. I honestly think it's that bad.
When you start talking about
I know San Antonio
Chinese
has
funding,
multiple ones.
when you start talking about Chinese funding, yeah, man, it's very plausible to have one next to every major city. Very, very, very plausible.
My view on it is they're doing some twisted bio warfare MK Ultra experiment.
I think this
I
one
don't
is,
see how that wouldn't be a declaration of war. I mean, if their Chinese faction run and illegal, that's an invasion with bio warfare.
I think this one is the Chinese Communist Party funding these different labs. That's what I think it is. And I think that Qatar doesn't want us to attack Iran. And so we've got some serious issues over there because we've got a lot of people in the United States. I think we've got a lot of people in our government that are owned by Qatar. They're going to be throwing a hissy fit, which is why Trump's going about doing the things the way he is. He knows he'd never get that passed. And a lot of these people would end up getting cut off.
Well, not just Qatar, Matt. Unfortunately, Saudi Arabia, they learned, over 70 years ago, whoever controls the oil controls us.
Yeah, but now we're slowly moving away from that. Which is
good.
Fracking, baby.
Yeah, which is good.
Fracking, we've got pipelines. We're producing more oil than we're freaking refining, and we're shipping it out. And we've got to do something, I don't want to say sustainable about the future, but we've got more than enough oil to last us for the freaking dawn of time under U.S. soil. But we've got to deal with our energy problem here in the United States. I'm not talking about oil. I'm talking about our just electrical grid. People do not realize the amount of energy that these data centers are soaking up. Virginia is starting to realize it because Virginia happens to have a buttload of these data centers in it, a metric buttload of data centers over there. And they soak up so much dang electricity. Everybody's electricity bill went through the freaking roof at the start of the year. Did you guys see that? Some of them tripled. And so we need to be able to embrace.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to be able to embrace the nuclear energy as well. We kind of need to be able to get behind that because the days of Chernobyl are over. By the way, that was Chernobyl. That was communist Russia building freaking nuclear plants. You can't even lean on a freaking wall in Ukraine without worrying about it falling over, and most of them are built all the way back then. So,
facts.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, I need to go. I need to go eat, and I need to kind of getting on. I'm going to be going to a concert tomorrow night for one of my kids' school concert. Really excited about it. So I might be a little late, situation dependent. Don't know how long it's going to take, but just wanted to give you guys a fair warning.
Have fun, Matt.
No worries. Have a good night.
All right, Matt. Take care.
Thanks,
Later,
guys.
Matt.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Alrighty. So closing out the Discord stage, my butt's out of there. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm closing out tonight. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. And I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being the relentless viewers that you are. Always questioning, says, check out China's The Unrestricted Warfare Theory in 99, Colonel Xiao Lang. Okay. Yep, I bet it's freaking interesting. Always questioning, becoming a true supporter. Good to have you. Good to have you, friend. Good to have you. Always enjoy seeing it. Abby says, for the record, NFL hasn't been kneeling in football for years. You're right. You're right. Black lives still matter, though. Tor 30 Alpha says, sorry I'm late again. Keep going, brother. We love you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I think that'll catch me up on Super Chats for the night. At least that's all it's showing me. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, happiness, and God bless. Don't forget, stop paying attention to people that say things like this. I am out of here.
Highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations, and I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why